Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. On July 13th of this year, the BC Provincial Nominee Entrepreneur Program reopened, accepting new registrants. Certain changes were implemented in the program when they reopened it. The latest draws, which were conducted under this base category for these entrepreneurs, restarted during the second half of this year. But what do you need to be invited under this program? Do you really have what it takes? Or are you in the approximately 60% of not qualified applicants who are actually registering online for this program, or don't even have enough points, even if you're qualified, to be invited, or don't fall within the provincial strategies to be invited? We'll cover some historical data today from the 2021 about the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program. And of course, if this program isn't suitable for you, although you intend to reside and invest in BC, there are other options to consider. Hello, my name is Reza, if you haven't figured that part out yet, and I work with the Ingwe Canada licensed immigration team helping applicants, yes, you guessed it, move to Canada. Whether it's for yourself, kids, family, business, or all of the above, we do make it happen. And let me clarify this point. I'm not an actual full-time YouTuber. I don't actually advertise on YouTube. This is all organic. I work hands-on with our licensed team here in Canada, working on actual applications, figuring out things, resolving challenges, communicating with the IRCC, the Canadian Immigration Department, whether it's with their embassies overseas or their internal departments here in Canada on behalf of our clients when we're representing them. These videos are made for the purpose of sharing our hands-on Canadian immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience. And if you're thinking about immigrating, at Ingwe, we break down the barriers between countries so you can study, work, and invest in your preferred destination. We're licensed and we help applicants just like yourself and your families. Let's take a quick look, quick intro, an update for anyone who doesn't know or needs a refresher on the provincial program in BC for the entrepreneurial program. First of all, the province uses an online points-based expression of interest system to manage applicants who are interested to apply for the program. The BC PNP will also start a new scoring system as of November 16th when the new knock code is coming out. So more details of that will be available on November 16th. So a lot of the program's scoring systems will be changing probably in 3 weeks, I guess, November 16th. Programs such as the BC PNP Health Authority International Postgraduate and BC PNP Entrepreneur Program right now are accepting new registrants, but not the skilled immigration stream under the other categories. They've stopped that until November 16th when they're reopening with the new knock code. So just so everyone knows. An interesting factoid, last year's stats showed that the top 5 countries which applied for the BC PNP were number 1, India, number 2, China, number 3, Iran, number 4, Brazil, and number 5, the UK, which is quite interesting. Last 3 years, it's been the same, except I believe in 2019, Korea was in 5th place, maybe instead of Brazil or UK. The BC PNP Entrepreneur Program, if you're not familiar with it, is for entrepreneurs to come set up a business, buy a business, or set up a brand new business in BC. It's got 3 subcategories: base category, regional pilot program, and the strategic projects category. So the base category allows foreign entrepreneurs to propose new businesses or purchase a business in anywhere in BC, right? As a path to a work permit and eventual permanent residency. It's an immigration program, obviously. The BC PNP also launched a regional pilot program back in March 2019, and it's for limited smaller communities that are within 30 kilometers or more of major cities and don't have more than 75,000 population. So it's for very small towns and communities. There's participating communities in this program, and they have to support you as an applicant after you do your exploratory trip in order to be considered. This program was a pilot and it still is. It's been extended till 2024. And the strategic projects category, which is the third category in the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program, is for foreign corporations that intend to establish a subsidiary or branch in BC that is within their core business. So it allows them to transfer key staff with specialized corporate knowledge and expertise to BC. It's a very small number of applicants that actually go through the BC PNP in this category because the minimum investment is $500,000 and you need to create 3 new Canadian jobs for every executive from your company that you transfer over. So it's almost like the federal intercompany transfer, but at a very higher level and on a provincial category. In 2021, so some historical data, 213 registrants submitted an expression of interest under the entrepreneurial program in BC, the base program. Only 162 of those were qualified. So I don't know what the rest of those 50 people were doing. When you're not qualified, why are you applying? And out of those 162 that were qualified, 44 were actually invited and actually nominated to proceed to a work permit stage. So that's a low percentage of qualified applicants that were actually invited and processed. And it makes sense because the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program is one of the strictest programs out there and the highest refusals during the interview process. Yes, folks, that's a reality. But the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program last year nominated 38 applicants for permanent residency. So they probably started 2-3 years before that. So 38 last year were actually finishing their business and that 18 months period, and they were allowed to be nominated for PR. And during the making of this live recording, they're still waiting for their PR because it takes about 2 years after the nomination. So interestingly enough, under the Entrepreneur Regional Pilot Program, a total of 10 registrants actually applied to the expression of interest system last year. 100% were qualified. Well, there was only 10 of them. And 9 were nominated, which is like a 90% success rate. But again, only 9. And there's a lot of barriers to entry for these programs because the regional pilot is only for small participating communities. And unless you've got contacts there, unless you know what you're doing, unless you go there and get that support, you won't be able to actually apply under this program. And the number of applicants, it's interesting. China was the number 1 applicants under this program, with more than half of the nominees being Chinese citizens. And Iran was the most improved number of applicants under this program, with 16% of all nominees in 2021. So let's look at the latest draws for the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program. It was for a minimum of 116 points and 5 invitations were issued back in August. Okay, this is for the Entrepreneur Program. Before this draw in August, actually no, this draw, my apologies, 116 was the latest one on October 4th, so that's my mistake. Sorry everyone. 116 is the latest draw, just earlier this month, October 4th, 2022. But before that, in August, it was 129 points. And then it ranged before that between 111 to 116. So every 2-3 months, you do get an entrepreneurial draw in BC and the BC expression of interest pool. There's not a lot of applications, right? So they don't do it frequently every month. At no point in any draw this year have more than 6 people been actually selected and invited to apply for the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program. And if you're wondering what the process is to get started and timelines for this program, here it is. Do an exploratory trip. It's not mandatory, very highly recommended. Submit your business concept and expression of interest through the online portal for BC PNP. Within 6 weeks of submitting, you usually get a score as based on your profile and business concept. You need to meet 115 points out of 200 to stay and be qualified in the pool. If you receive an invitation to apply under this program in one of the draws, you'll have to complete a net worth audit with one of the designated accounting firms that BC PNP has approved, and you'll actually have to pay for that as well. Within 4 months, an interview process and an application process will commence, and the interview has to be in person. It's mandatory. Okay, and no invitation letter will be issued for you to get a visitor visa. Okay, after that 4-month time frame, a decision is made based on your submitted applications, net worth, and interview. And after you receive the BC provincial support letter, that takes again a couple months, you'll be able to apply for an IRCC a federal work permit, non-entrepreneurial work permit, to come in and start your business. That work permit processing can take 4 to 6 months through the embassy or from inside of Canada. After you receive the work permit, you will start your business, implement it, or whether you purchased it, you will expand that business for up to 18 months, after which you can become eligible to submit your final report to the PNP office, the provincial office, in order for them to process your nomination. How long does that take? Well, that takes another 4 months minimum. It can take even up to 5 months or 6 months. Right? Then when you have that, you apply for a PR with the federal government with that nomination certificate which you receive from the provincial program. And after you've submitted for you and your family, it will take anywhere from 20 to 24 months to process and receive your confirmation of PR, which is your final PR given by the federal government. So it's important to note for anyone interested in this program that the BC provincial program has made minor adjustments to the registration scoring system to rebalance between the business concept and your own profile. We call it human capital. It's been redistributed, the points-based system, and aligned with the key priorities for the province. Previously, the majority of points were given to the business plan and concept. Now they've been rebalanced for 120 points being self-declared, 80 points for your business plan. And invitations under the entrepreneur-based category are typically based on a combination of these factors for applicants in their business concept. So their score, the specific region of BC that they're planning to start or buy business. So priority is always given to outside of the Metro Vancouver area. The population size of the community where they're planning to start or buy business, and whether the business is a brand new startup or they're buying an existing business there, and whether it falls within one of the priority business sectors of the provincial program for BC. And some changes that they've made are that you cannot reside further than 50 kilometers from the business operations. They've made specific restrictions about how far or where you live from your business. And again, if you're new to the program, the base category requires minimum net worth of 600,000 Canadian dollars between you and your spouse or children, and minimum investment of 200,000 Canadian dollars in the new or existing business. But this doesn't mean you'll actually be selected. This is just a qualifier to get you into the race. Post-secondary education is exempt if you owned 100% of a business documented for at least 3 years during the past 5 years. Franchises are allowed as long as it's an established franchise that has a track record in the past 5 years, and you've got all your disclosure documents for that franchise, and of course financial documents and all the support you need from the franchisor. Just to give you an example, some business concepts which are not accepted by the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program are real estate development activities or goods trading, so import-export without added value. And don't worry, if you're looking at those programs, you can come through the federal program. So the BC PNP, the provincial program, has those restrictions. And another important point to note in this program is that the provincial program for entrepreneurs will not consider more than $150,000 of your investment in purchasing a business as eligibility factors for your minimum investment. So if you pay out $200,000 for buying a new business, or $1 million or $10 million, they will only consider $150,000 of that as eligible for that minimum investment amount. The rest of the money has to be invested in upgrading or expanding that business. You're not allowed to make any investments in terms of starting or buying a business before you're approved and receive a work permit from the BC PNP. So after that whole initial process, otherwise they will refuse your application. The language requirements are CLB 4, and that's only after. You don't need to submit it initially. It's not mandatory. You can actually do it after you're ready to submit your final report when you've run your business for 18 months. CLB 4, which is Canadian Language Benchmark, is the equivalent of IELTS exam. 4.5 for listening, 3.5 for reading, 4 for writing, and 4 for speaking. And co-registrants are allowed to apply with you under the BC PNP base category. But remember, they need to meet all the qualification criteria on their own, the minimum net worth, the investment amount. And having a co-registrant doesn't mean everything is split in half. They're mutually exclusive. And the lowest score between the two of you will be applied to both of you. So if you're applying with somebody who's got a lower score to you, they're going to reduce your chances of being selected. So keep that in mind. And after receiving a nomination for PR from the provincial office, so the nomination certificate, after 18 months of running your business in Canada with that entrepreneurial work permit that they've supported you with, you need to continue to reside in the province, meet all the conditions in terms of the performance agreement with the province until the PR is issued, which is 2 years approximately with the federal government. So even after they nominate you for PR, you can't just let go and not run the business. You need to be actively running that business, residing in the province, meeting all those same conditions until that PR is given to you and your family. And how long does this entire process take? Well, without considering applying for a visitor visa and doing an exploratory trip, so let's just remove those out of the equation. Minimum 3 years to be nominated for the PR, another 2 years to be processed for the federal government PR. So 5 years minimum. The disadvantage of this program is that it's super long, but you are going to be inside Canada, living your life, running your business for most of this time period with your family. So it's not something, you have to stay outside Canada while all this is happening. You're actually inside of this Canada most of the time, correct? You can apply for, if you're inside Canada right now with a visitor visa, you can start the application process now, or you can even apply from outside. But again, an exploratory trip is highly recommended unless there's certain exceptions. And yes, there are other options, folks. If you want to live and invest in BC, where Vancouver is, or Kamloops, Okanagan, Victoria, Vancouver Island, you name it, Richmond Hill, or no, not Richmond. What am I saying? It's Richmond, Coquitlam, Burnaby, all those good places, New Westminster. And you don't want to go through this program. There's a slew of options available for you. I won't be able to get into them now because of this live recording will be too long, but there's a lot of federal programs and other programs that we can use if you're not eligible or interested in this BC provincial program. Anyways, we're going to go into our live, and before we go, remember, if you're thinking of immigrating through investment, business work, sponsorship, studies, or anything else, you are at the right place. We can only guarantee you one thing when you work with us, and that's you will know what to expect, the entire process clearly laid out for you, and all the risks identified, where we can provide you 100% support as our client. And remember, there's no there's no surprises, just results. I'm just trying to button my shirt here, folks. This is bad. I gotta fire my set manager. Oh, oops, I am the set manager. We've got $1 million liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud or mistakes. We've got a dedicated client trust account in our with our Canadian banks. Our team speaks over 8 languages, and we help people from over 47 different countries from the last time I kept count. And if you want a free assessment, you can get a free email assessment if you click on the video below this click on the link before this video. Okay, now I'm gonna fire myself. And if you're very serious, you know what you want, you're ready to apply, you can also book a one-on-one consultation with me using the consultation link in this below this video. And if you've got questions, we're here weekly in our live schedule on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, every Thursday, 11 a.m. North America Eastern Time, where we answer all of your Canadian immigration questions for free. And yes, we are in our live. We're gonna jump into our question period. We got a lot of people. Chinyeragu, always at the top. I like that. You're here. You're like the best student, Chinyeragu. Salutes to you, Sir Reza. Salute back. John says, hi, sir. Hi back to you, John. So we're just looking at our YouTube audience right now. Unfortunately for Facebook, Instagram, I don't see your comments or questions. We're specifically looking at YouTube right now. Salman Bari says, my application is already in process under OINP PNP. Good, Salman, it's good. Biometrics submitted. Perfect. If you're doing, typically it takes around 4.5 months, Salman, just depending on which stream you've applied under the Ontario PNP. Duga Conte says, hi, good evening. Her now, Barcelona, Spain, Mr. Razon. Oh, Barcelona, Spain. Are you in Barcelona, Spain, or am I in Barcelona, Spain? Duga. John, I got 2 student visa refusals recently, and now I'm planning to hire a representative. So can you tell me about the role of an authorized paid representative, the APR portal, and its processing time? So, John, just so you know, processing time is the same no matter if you hire somebody to do it or you don't. Whether it's a lawyer or consultant, it's the same processing time. The portal that they use, they can create a portal for you and submit, or use their own portal. That's up to them, and that's up to you. Can they provide any letter to the visa offer on my behalf? Yeah, they can put a legal submission letter in your application, which will hopefully guide the officer in terms of giving you a better chance of trying to get approved. But again, sometimes they don't read it. But it's more of a strategy for judicial review. If you're looking at being refused several times for a study permit, you think you have a good case. So yes, there's additional benefits, but again, it doesn't guarantee you anything in terms of being approved. Safa Salah Ahmad El Baharani. I'm wondering why the letter of support of startup visa is delayed for more than 3 months after getting all the approved documents from the designated organization. So, Safa, I have a rough guess, if you allow me to guess, who your designated organization is. Is it in Ontario? Give me a clue. Is it in Oshawa? Because I've been hearing a lot about delayed letters of supports there. Victor Ojevale says, hi Reza. Hello Victor, nice to meet you online. Hima says, salam Reza Chetori. Hope everything is well with you and your family. Thanks Hima, appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. And press the like button, folks, if you like it. And if you don't like it, press the unlike button. Amila Silva says, hello sir. What is the application review assignment date in the GCMS notes? The assignment date typically means the date it's been assigned to somebody to review and process the application. Typically, but again, I'd have to see the context of that text in the GCMS. Amila Silva says, yeah, so I said that. Victor Ojevale says, must you get a temporary work permit if you're applying to the startup visa program? What is the risk of building the startup from outside Canada while pursuing other engagements? Okay, good question, Victor. For the startup visa program, it's not mandatory to have a work permit. Okay. If you get a lot of progress and traction in your business overseas, that's good. The only thing you have to keep remember for startup is you have to come in and at least have a registered business, do some work remotely, at least in Canada, whether connecting with partners, distributors, developers, customers, making a presence in Canada, sort of building up on that. That will help even if you're outside and don't come in on a work permit. If you're fully employed in another company while you're doing your startup, again, they don't like that a lot. That's a red flag. But again, if you've got an amazing startup which already has revenue and you're moving that to Canada, well, those can be, then it can offset the effects of being overseas. But if you don't have that and you're fully employed still at another company, yeah, that's an issue. Jagjivan Singh Romana says, SUV application updates, please. Jagjivan, how are you? Startup, everyone wants startup. Startup, again, if you watch my video about 2 weeks ago, right now, everything is at 2020. Summer to fall applications are starting to be processed. I've spoken with several designated organizations from angel investors, venture capital, and incubators, and everyone is validating that information. In terms of new cases in Candy, in terms of refusals and judicial reviews and appeals, nothing that's come out of recently, but we will have some news over the next 2 months on, and I don't like to give stupid news. I like to give real, solid, tangible news updates, and hopefully in over the next month and a half, we'll do another YouTube live regarding or about that startup visa, right? But right now, remember, folks, if you're thinking within a year you get a PR or a year and a half, tough luck. When you're looking at startup visa and you're looking at that 32-month processing time on the IRCC website, that means for them to issue a decision. You know how long it takes to actually get your PR card after they issue a decision? Another year. So you can add another 12 months to 32. So you're looking at 44 months. Yes, folks, if you're stuck in startup or whatever, that's the reality. Okay, we should change the channel name to Reality Check channel or The Truth. But yes, I am a fan of startup visa, but I would like everyone who applies to know what the reality is, what they need to expect. Okay. Novak Meditation says morning. Good morning back to you, Novak. Safa Saleh says no, the DO is in BC. Oh, okay, Safa, because I was hearing similar problems in Southern Ontario with one of them. It depends on the designated organization. Sometimes they have issues with your documentation or business plan, little tweaking, and sometimes they're short-staffed. And that's what I've seen in some designated where it takes a long time to get longer than expected. Usually 3 months is average. If it goes to 4 to 6 months, then that's a little bit extended. Not all designated organizations and incubators or angel investors or venture are created equally. Amila Silva says, thank you, sir. No problem, Amila. Aditya Kanekar. Hello, Reza. I'm on an ICT permit and my wife has applied for an open work permit as a dependent online from Canada. We are waiting for 4 months, but there's no status update. So, Aditya, did you apply from inside Canada or outside Canada? You're inside, she's outside, or you're both inside or you're both outside. But typically, up to 6 months, 4.5 to 6 months is standard processing times for work permits, just so you're aware. So if it takes another 2 weeks or up to another 2 months, be aware. Novak Meditation says, thank you for this amazing live. Buying business which will purchase a property, do renovations, and then do long-term rentals of the units, qualify under PNP programs. BC will not like that. Okay, Novak? If you want to be in BC, like British Columbia, Vancouver, that whole area, then we would take you through, like if you were a client, we'd take you through a federal program for that. Okay, but if you're looking at any provincial program, yes, there's provincial programs that are okay with that. BC, I don't want to say this, but BC is a little bit, no, I'm not going to say it. They're conservative. Okay, I wanted to say they're communist, but that's too much. But they're very, very socialist. Yeah, that's a better word. I don't want anyone to be offended if I have any communist audience members watching. But yeah, so real estate and all these investment type stuff, they don't like. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Hema, how long will it take for PR medical? We have submitted. How long will it it's a tough one. If you've already submitted it and then you can, I don't know. Sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months. You can, worst case, 4 to 6 months. But to be honest with you, it depends if you're inside, outside Canada. If you're outside, what program it's under. Hima says, merci, Agha, stay safe always. No problem, Hima. Good to say. Thank you. Merci. Aditya, Kanekar, both are inside Canada. So Aditya, again, 4.5, 5 months is okay. I've seen postgraduate work permits that take even 6 months sometimes. But 4.5 months is a good standard. But if it takes 5.5 months, don't be surprised, okay? And again, with IRCC, folks, this is like a mixed bag, right? It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, and it's not an exact science on processing times. Novak has those smiley faces. Thank you. I'm living in Vancouver, so you're right. Yeah, Novak. By the way, I grew up in a big part of my life in Vancouver. A lot of family there. Yeah. Safa Salah Ahmad says, thanks, Reza, much appreciated. No problem. Novak says, thank you, much appreciated. I'll be in touch. Yeah, Novak, definitely stay in touch. Jagjivan Singh Romana, Reza, I got my work permit issued in Stara. Can I apply for my partner's work permit or visitor visa? What risk can I have? Apply for a work permit. Why are you applying for a visitor visa? If they, like, when you're applying with your spouse, you already have a work permit, so you apply for an open work permit for her. A visitor visa, I mean, I wouldn't do that, because the chances of refusal and approval are better with the work permit. So if the chances of refusal are high, it's the same thing. So why not just go for the work permit, okay? So what risk do you have? Well, you just have to make sure they process and assess the application based on a temporary residency. So even if you've applied for PR, which you have with your spouse, they still consider that, okay, this is a temporary residency application for a work permit. What employability do you have? Do you have financial assets back home, money, intention? But typically, if you're approved, she should be approved too. Make sure you've got a solid application. Aditya Kanekar, smiley face, right back at you, folks. Victor Ojevale, thanks for your response. So if there's a if there is a staff in a Canadian being managed from outside of Canada while studying outside Canada with progress in the startup development, the SUV application should be okay. So if there's staff in Canada being managed, yeah, if you are, remember, folks, I probably said this a million times, innovation, scalability, significant economic benefit for Canada. If you can show your intention is there, so you're already planning to come, you've developed that base in Canada, you've got Canadians working for you, plus you're working on it from overseas, it will help your application. Okay, there's other factors they look at. So saying that it's fine is a little bit, assuming, that's just too much presumption. It's like, I don't want to say it's 100% okay, but those factors will 100% help your application. But they will look at the big picture. They will look at the other members. They will look who's essential. They will look at what are you doing, and back in your home country, what progress do you have inside versus outside? Hima says PR for PNP outside of Canada. Hima, yeah, I would say wait 4 to 6 months. Jagjivan, sorry about that. Jagjivan says thank you. No problem, Jagjivan. Always here to help. We are here live every Thursday, folks. And if you're wondering what we're doing, yes, our YouTube audience gets to comment and question, and we get to answer them every Thursday, 11 a.m. North America Eastern Standard Time, which is the local time in Montreal, New York, Ottawa, Miami, Toronto, and so forth. And if nobody has questions, thank you, Reza Victor. No problem, Victor. We will be back here next week. And every week we've got a new topic, folks. We've got a video that we release on our YouTube channel and other social media channels regarding, whether it's studying, working, investing. And we have a live session where we discuss the topic and then we answer all your questions. We're streamed live on 3 platforms. Remember, we're also available on LinkedIn if you want to follow us on LinkedIn with the content that we're producing there. Some other types of videos go there. But other than that, yeah, we're here on Thursdays for about an hour to help you. So this is all about giving back to the newcomers and the foreign applicants and the people who are intending to be future Canadians here in Canada. Kashish Sharma says, is there any chance of refusal after a passport request? Um, yeah, I mean, in theory, yes, Kashish, but 99% you've done it. But if there's an issue with your passport or something that comes up last second, of course you can be refused. But 99% at that point, you're okay. Okay? And remember, folks, in immigration, there's no such thing as 100%. Okay? There's no such thing as no risk. Okay? What business or what activity in your lives has no risk and is 100% guaranteed? Are you guaranteed tomorrow will be sunny? Are you guaranteed that if you drive from home to work, you're not gonna, see it won't rain halfway through, or you'll get a punctured tire, or maybe your Bluetooth doesn't work between your phone? And there's risks all over. There's no guarantee. It's a matter of likelihood and probability. Okay, so when you're applying, you have to calculate your risk. This is what investors do. This is what business people do, right? There's no guaranteed business. There's no business without a risk. You just have to make sure you are aware of your risk. And that means calculated risk. Applying for the sake of applying is the worst thing you can do. Okay, so if anyone ever says, what risk, like, what can you guarantee? Yeah, I can guarantee you I'll try my best. I can guarantee you that you're eligible. But guaranteeing anything in immigration is very immature, and I would say amateur in a lot of ways. And if you don't know the risks when you're applying, then you don't know what you're doing. Okay? One more question, if you allow me, Safa. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Safa. Before we sign off, folks, Safa is going to ask his last question for everyone, on behalf of everyone, and then we'll take off and we'll get back to work until next Thursday. So, Safa, type it out. Let us know, what is the $1 million question that you have. Why am I playing with these cards? Okay, well, while we're waiting for Safa, if you just joined us, you're like, what is this guy talking about? We've got our live immigration session. We talk and answer all of your questions about Canadian immigration every Thursday. And we're at the end of our live now. Safa is typing his question as we're all very eager to see what he's typing. Here we go. During the first year of a work permit and SUV, do we have to prove that your work is profitable? Oh, no. That's profitability is not a criteria, Safa, in any way. It's about, hey, what did you do during this 1 year you were here? And again, this is with all business immigration or entrepreneurial work permits, not just startup visa. If you get a 1 year or 2 year work permit and you're renewing, you have to prove to the officer what you've done in this 1 year to allow you to continue. If you have done nothing, of course, if the officer is awake and reading the application, they will not approve it. But when I mean what you have done, well, have you set up a business? Do you show that you've actually implemented the business? Are you doing things? Do you have plans? Was part of your business plan the first year, have you implemented more than 50% of it? So that economic benefit, the traction that you're creating for your business. These are the things, whether it's marketing, back-end development, right? Hiring people or setting up an office or doing partnerships, who knows? Whatever it is, you prove that and they will renew, okay? But profitability at no point is a factor in any of these business immigration programs. If you read through any of these programs, whether provincial, federal, startup, whatnot, profitability is not there. It's viability, it's economic benefit, does it match your profile? Do you know what you're doing? These are the things that are important. So that's it, Safa. I hope I've answered that question. Thank you, folks, for watching. We'll be back next Thursday. Enjoy your Thursday today and the rest of this week, and of course your upcoming weekend. And today it seems like I'm in a good mood, maybe. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And if you know anyone who will benefit from our services, we do take referrals, okay? Of course, we are a business for profit type model, and Thursdays are dedicated to give back. But the rest of the time, yes, we do have clients. And if you believe you have anyone within your network that will benefit from the information or our expertise, or if you think anyone is interested to live in Canada in the future, you can always let me know. Okay, thanks, folks. Thanks, Safa. We'll be in touch for sure. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.